I'm Russell Washington, and I want to start off just by thanking the people at Frequency Magazine for giving me the opportunity to join in with them and sharing the knowledge that it's timely for what life is calling for. Now, in this inaugural issue, I have an article called The Primacy of Consciousness and the Majesty of Sound. And it's not a highfalutin title. When you read the article, you'll see that it really is apt. For the past almost 40 years, I've been working as a holistic systems design specialist, helping people reach their wellness and performance goals, and also contributing to holistic agriculture. Uh, and my specialty is where how we take care of ourselves and the other earthlings crosses over with how we take care of the planet as a life support system and as a living being. So that's about as holistic as I could imagine getting over these years. Um, my training has included a lot of nuances around sound. I won't go into those details now because they'll emerge in the articles over the months um, as I produce the series that I have in mind. And the series is really about answering what life is calling for. And when I say life, I mean life with a capital L. From the perspective of being and beingness. And the beautiful thing about this perspective, in my opinion, is that it's been held for thousands and thousands of years that who we are, who you are, your I am, is primal to everything else about existence for you. Interestingly enough, modern mathematics, theoretical physics is coming around to the conception that um, space, nor time, nor space-time are fundamental to existence, which is a revelation for them. It would be a revelation for a lot of people as well, but what they mean by that is, and when I say they, I'm thinking in particular of two theoretical physicists. My favorite um, guy in the game who's playing for this team is a gentleman named Nassim Haramein. And the other guy who's recently entered this world is a gentleman named Dr. David Hoffman. So there's Dr. Nassim Haramein, Dr. David Hoffman. And what they have described is that consciousness has primacy over what we experience as existence, right? And it patterns and informs everything. So an example of what one of them might say is that the brain does not create consciousness or awareness. Consciousness generates a brain, right? So it's flipping what modern materialistic reductionistic scientists have been telling us. But it's going to make a lot of sense as as the details unfold. And the beautiful thing about conventional science is it fills in, it puts bones on, I mean, it puts flesh on the bones a lot of times of what the ancients have been telling us metaphorically, um, poetically, and in other ways, but sometimes very precisely, even in the ancient wisdom. Why is this useful? What does this have to do with the price of tea in China? Especially from my perspective in terms of the work that I'm doing. I am keen on the idea that the human family has positioned itself exquisitely to make a self-directed evolutionary leap. And so we're at a fork in the road, and that there's one faction that thinks our only option to making an evolutionary leap is through the avenues of what they call transhumanism, which is basically becoming cybernetic beings, merging with our machines, and etc. Now, um, in my comic book mind, they are the villains, but they're actually great people. And they're led by a cat named, one of the great thinkers in that department is a gentleman named Ray Kurzweil, whose predictions have, for the most part, been spot on. So there will be a great transhumanist movement. I, on the other hand, feel as though we have barely tapped the true potential of life's expressions, right? And that we're in a position now to do something else. So here's the thing. We've boxed ourselves into what could honestly be considered a three-pronged existential crisis um, that we will not be able to thrash our way out of by thinking laterally and running into the arms of someone else's technology. We'll have to create something from scratch. It will have to be an artistic move that elevates our capacity beyond what we normally think we're capable of now. Now, many of us have experienced extraordinariness from ourselves and our colleagues. We've seen instantaneous healings. We've seen people come around we see people do amazing things all the time. But I believe life is calling for us to take things to the next level. And the first article really is a primer for that understanding. Um, and the subsequent articles will be expositions of possibilities around that. So when I say asking what life is calling for, let me give you an example. Prior to World War I, there were many people ringing the alarm that says, look, the world as it is, the world order, is not sustainable because at that time, nearly 7% of the world's population was being seriously controlled by, 85% of the world's known population was being controlled by 7% of the world population. And it just wasn't sustainable. So there were warnings. They said if we don't change the structure of how we live, there will be trouble. And there was trouble. The Great War, World War I, World War II happened, and we came out of it with the feeling, with the stated structures that says, look, that was the war to end all wars. And of course, we've been at war almost ever since. So it is time for us to learn our lesson, but we will have to do it through our art, by elevating our individual frequencies, our collective frequencies, and actually the frequency and aid in elevating the resonant frequency of the planet itself. And that is no small order. It can't be done haphazardly through wishful thinking. It will have to be done by establishing a grounded sense of resonant harmony amongst ourselves and send it out as a carrier wave such that a groundswell occurs. So that's my idea about what can happen. The scientists also call this the Anthropocene, and I'm going to close here, which means that the human family is now, in effect, a force of nature, where we are able to affect the whole epoch by what we're doing. So the question is, are we going to be a generative force of nature, or are we going to be a destructive force of nature that leaves us and the rest of the earthlings without a home, or without a home with the opportunity for organized life as we understand it? Because, we've all seen the apocalyptic movies. Somebody's going to survive. That's not the point. To create a world that thrives in a harmonious way, that allows us to fill in our potential, we will have to choose how we operate as a force of nature. And I'm in that camp. Thank you very much. I look forward to getting with you again.